In this video, I've brought No Man's Sky into Minecraft with the expansion, a Minecraft data pack that adds space exploration directly into Minecraft without the use of mods. You can launch rockets, explore planets and moons, and even fly around in space. So let's go. So you start off with a spyglass, look at the moon in the night sky, and you'll start filling out your book and quill with research that unlocks this guide to space travel. As you can see, there's a bunch of new recipes that get added, a bunch of new blocks and tool stations, as well as new vehicles. The vehicles are the most important part. Also, there's a bunch of new planets for you to explore, because, you know, like I said, it does add space travel into the game. This is everything that is included, well, almost everything. It looks a bit overwhelming, but don't worry, you take your time to progress through the mod pack, or the data pack I guess, so don't worry about getting too overwhelmed. But this is the first rocket that you'll build. It's the rocket ship, and it'll take you to the moon. All you need to do is put it on a obsidian launch pad, and here we go, let's assemble it. So once you have your rocket assembled, all you need to do is climb in, and you'll see you try and launch and you don't have enough fuel. So you need to go to the nether to get some blaze powder, load the fuel in and hit launch. You'll have a 10-second countdown and we're going to space. I'm going to let the countdown keep going just for dramatic effect.
3, 2, 1, 0.
And here we go. Fully custom models, awesome animation, and you can see the exterior of the rocket ship. This data pack is amazing, and this is just the start. This doesn't even scratch the surface of how cool this data pack gets. So you'll see we're flying up into space, and this rocket ship will take us to the moon initially. Here we go. Here's the moon lander. We'll start floating down nice and gently onto the moon's surface, where we'll be able to explore a bunch of different things. Now, the reason you go to the moon first, and the only reason you go to the moon with a rocket, is because you need to get a specific ore that exists on the moon. And this is used to craft the other items, the new spaceship, and some of the other tool stations that you need in order to progress through the data pack. But as you can see, on the moon, there are a bunch of different things. This is a Millennium Falcon for some reason, but you can explore it. There's chests inside that you can go grab all of your tools, you can grab different resources, and it's a good way to get some ship upgrades as well. Here you go, here's a perfect example. You find a chest, there's a spaceship fuel upgrade, and this will make your fuel last 50% longer. This is good for the longer journeys, because when you fly out in space with the other spaceship, this isn't for the rocket, it can take a while. Mars is quite far away, but so are the other planets, and there's different things you can craft, like a planetarium that shows you where in space they are. Now this is cool. This is a crash ship that is defended by these little robot things. So obviously I'm in creative mode, so I'm not going to take any damage, but if you're in survival mode and you're playing this as a survival pack, you better be prepared to fight some mobs. You can build custom weapons as well. There's some space suits that you can get, some space upgrades like rocket boots that help you navigate a bit quicker and a bit better, but just make sure you're prepared. This is why I did it in creative mode, so I could just break and just fly out of there, because there was no chance I was going to fight off all of these. There's loads of them, and there's a bunch of these that spawn all across the moon, and it's the same for the other planets as well. They all have their own different unique resources and buildings that spawn that you can explore. And now we're going to head back to Earth. So you just get in the launcher, you right click, the countdown starts, and then you launch up back into space and back down to planet Earth. Here we go. So once the launcher reaches the edge of the moon, you spawn back on the overworld and you float down back onto the exact landing pad that you took off from. This makes it a lot easier so you don't lose where you built all of your base, because if you lose where you built all of this, it can be quite devastating, because the recipes are really complicated, because you have to build things into things. So you'll have to build like copper wire, and then into like a copper coil, and then into an actuator arm. So yeah, it gets pretty intense. But these are some of the buildings that you get, like the new machines. And then this thing is how you craft the rocket ship. And this is the crafting recipe and the fuel that you need as well. And this is it. This is your spaceship. You can see this is the planetarium that I spoke about earlier. You use this in space because this will show you where all the planets are. Otherwise, you're just flying aimlessly and you'll probably get lost because you need to find your way back as well. So make sure you take plenty of reserve fuel, and fuel is quite easy to make once you make the machine. But here you go. There is full space flight. And I'm not even joking, this is fully controlled space flight. You can also fire weapons. I'm not sure, I haven't encountered any combat myself, but there might be space combat. Although you could probably take your ship to the moon and fight those robots off with your ship. But there is full customizable spaceflight. And here we go, I've just activated the planetarium, and now you can see it's added waypoints for all the planets. So there's Jupiter, Europa, and the moon, and then Mars, which is where we're heading. So we'll fly across. There's some randomly generated spawn ships and some other things that you can find while you're out exploring space. I don't know if you can go onto them, like jump out of your ship, because you are in space. But as you can see, when you get close to the planet spawns in. Like you get to the planet, it becomes visible because of the render distance. Obviously, it just appears, and I think that's quite a cool thing to see when you're following. If you didn't have the planetarium, I suppose it would be even cooler just seeing a planet come out of nowhere, but the planetarium's a must. You need to be able to find where you're going. And here we go. This is Mars. You can see it's a completely different landscape, and there are some structures you can already see, and we'll explore some of those, because I don't want to show everything, because you need to explore this for yourself. This is probably the best data pack I've ever seen in Minecraft, and the fact that it adds basically No Man's Sky into Minecraft is pretty crazy, I'm not gonna lie. So here we go, we're landing on the surface, and you'll see that we're gonna hop out, and there's this giant structure. It looks like a robot, so I assume there's like some mining operation going on the planet, on Mars, that these robots are used for, which is pretty cool. There's a whole lore behind the planets as well and what's going on. So the more you progress, the more you find out about the lore, which is something I need to dive into because I haven't even scratched the surface of the lore of this data pack yet. And I imagine there's a whole bunch of stuff to explore. So similar to the Millennium Falcon and the crash ship on the moon, you can find various ship upgrades, resources, and just some other goodies that you can take with you from these buildings. They all spawn randomly, and you'll see there's a few different ones. This is a cool ship that's in the sky, and I found a few of these, but I'm not sure if there's like different ones. But you can actually land in the hangar and explore from there, and I got a bit stuck, but if you fly in properly and land, you can get quite an immersive experience of the whole pack. Similar to No Man's Sky, when you land in a freighter, or if you land in a space station, it's a similar experience. I still can't get over how good this pack is and how immersive it is. And you can explore this whole thing. The ship has a bunch of different secrets that you can find. It has, obviously, cool ship upgrades, but I found this Gatling gun, or the railgun, and it just needs iron ingots, which you can also find on the ship, but it does damage. And these endermites are all over there. I assume the part of the lore is like they're infected aliens, or they're the reason for the ships going, or life going. I don't know. I haven't read any of the like ship logs that you can find. But the railgun takes them out in one shot. So I would definitely recommend getting a railgun or crafting one, going back to the moon and exploring some more of those crash ships, because there's going to be a bunch of good loot on them. But as you progress further, you'll get more encounters with different buildings, different loot, more lore. So there's plenty to explore. You're never going to have a moment where there's not a lot to explore. And here is like this massive railgun, Gatling gun, and I'm not, again, there's so much to explore, and this is just the moon and Mars that I've showed you. There's so much more to explore. There's an asteroid field, there's a lot of the planets. Just try it out, please. If you don't, just do one thing, Take one thing from this video, try this data pack out. It's linked down below. It'll be worth your time. It's so good. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed this look at the expansion data pack. It's basically No Man's Sky in Minecraft. It has a bunch of lore, a bunch of cool builds, a bunch of new resources that you can find, and a whole host of different experiences that you can have in Minecraft. So definitely check it out. Link in the description. If you want to see more stuff like this, then leave a like, comment, and subscribe.